Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Snackbox. Welcome to my YouTube channel. The Hydra balance update is finally live, and I'm really curious to see how it's gonna affect my teams. So let's jump right into it. So you can see all the changes in the news. We've gone through all of them in one of the last videos. I'm not gonna uh, read it all over again, but I think most of us got the memo. And yeah, it's probably really bad. I never really focused too much on Hydra. The teams I was running were pretty old school, I would say. Like one of the first teams that people would run, and I just used the champs that I had at that time, and it worked for what it was. But now I'm not really sure if it's gonna, you know, perform as good. I mean, it's not gonna perform as good as it was, but I'm curious to see if I can even reach one keys uh, on the, on Hydra Nightmare, for example, because it was really tough for me. Um, I have some champs I can build to improve my Hydra teams overall. But I can't do it now because I want to save my legendary books and whatnot for the upcoming CVC. So I just gotta use whatever I have now and see if I can get the max potential out of it. So one thing that I noticed straight away when I logged in is I checked the Hydra Clash points, and instantly I saw like 25 billion damage on a Wixwell team. Now, this must be a bug, or I don't know, something went wrong here, because from what I know, the Wixwell teams got nerfed, but this guy somehow managed to sneak. I don't know, maybe he didn't update the game, and it still had the old, Hydra mechanics, and that way he was able to use his old Wixwell team. That's the first thing I noticed, and it's kind of bad if it if a lot of people abuse that. This week is kind of screwed for a lot of clans. So that's probably something Plarium needs to take a look at. Maybe refund those keys or whatever, just to make it fair for everybody. But yeah, other than that, overall, I don't see any crazy keys. And yeah, let's collect our rewards first, which are honestly pretty underwhelming considering the amount of resources you have to spend to build those teams, the stats you need to achieve, and you get a little mortal soulstone for all this work and a couple of pieces. I mean, that's good, but still you get 5-star here and there, like, I mean, they could easily, like, just throw in like one eternal, what is it called, one immortal soulstone or whatever, like something similar to the Demon Lord clan boss, where you have a chance for a sacred shard. Just do the same here, and people will be more engaged in this content, because it's really hard to get soul stones, and we need another source to get those. So as you can see, I was lucky and got 2 Yumikos and Shuzen. Also got a Trunda, Gorptuk, and Lydia, and this team got me consistently like 10 billion damage on normal, I think, and around 4 billion on hard. My gear is not crazy good. I don't have a +4 nor 6-star blessing on my Trunda, so the damage is really, compared to the other Trunda teams, it was not really that crazy, but it was still too much. And yeah, now I'm really curious to see if I can even, reach the 1.2 billion threshold for the chests. And we're gonna test it out real quick, and I'll show you the results. So here we go, guys. After 1 hour of manualing my ass off on this new Hydra boss. Yeah, what can I say? This is Hydra normal. I wasn't able to do much on any higher difficulty due to my gear, and yeah, I don't know what to say, guys. It doesn't really feel good. I mean, I like that they nerfed the Trunda combo. That's fine, but the way this affects the whole fight with the Serpent's Will and the 100% damage reduction and the digesting, and the biggest problem is the Serpent's Will, the 100% damage reduction. This will affect so many players. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it should be 100% damage reduction. Yeah, this will affect so many players, and they will have such a hard time in, doing a decent amount of damage and reaching that 1.2 billion points for the chest, for the reward for the Hydra chest. And I don't know. I think they did a big mistake here. It's kind of a lot, like the whole change is really a lot to process and figure out, and yeah, I think they did a mistake here. Because if you think about it, teams like this been around for almost, I don't know, over a year, I think, or even longer. And, people been investing in these teams. And I'm not talking specifically about Trunda teams. I'm talking in general about all the teams that were built, and people invested in them, and, made progress in Hydra. And now all of this is kind of, worth nothing. You most likely, the majority of the player base has to figure out a new Hydra team and, invest more resources again. And this is something that I don't like to see. I'm really trying to find something positive here to say, but it really doesn't feel good. And again, like, if I compare this amount of damage to before, that's totally fine with me. In my opinion, this Trunda team, or cheese teams like Trunda teams, should have been nerfed ages ago. People been abusing this for too long to now come with such a big buff for the Hydra. and nerfs for certain teams to make it make sense, right? The problem here is that, the majority will suffer from these changes and not be able to, find success in Hydra the way they did before. And this is very demotivating. This is very frustrating. And yeah, something needs to be done here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. It really doesn't feel good at all. Maybe they really have to change the Serpentsville buff of the Hydra. Maybe lower the damage reduction, or also something I noticed every time I decapitated heads, they would pop up immediately for some reason. Once I decapitate another one, or I, destroyed the HP bar from one of the decapitated heads. So it feels really buggy. It feels like a cheap change just to limit and nerf those crazy 40, 50 billion damage teams. But at the same time, it's a huge, how do I say it? Like a huge obstacle for all the lower teams, like the teams that don't have all these crazy champions. And yeah, I think they really need to rethink this and tweak it and make it more. I'm not saying like make it too easy. I'm fine with bringing more challenge to certain content. I mean, Hydra should be challenging, and it wasn't. But now it feels kind of too much, and the changes just feel like a cheap way to make this harder, and I don't like it. But it is what it is for now, and we're gonna see what the future will bring. Maybe they will tweak those changes a little bit and make it more accessible for the majority of players. See, and another thing is they made Hydra so much harder now, like really significantly harder. It's not even comparable to before. And the rewards are still the same. 5-star gear and mortal soulstones. Nobody cares about that anymore. Like, I mean, newer players do, but the amount of resources you have to spend to get this chest and the rewards in this chest are not on the same level. You know what I mean? Like, the investment is way too high for the return. So that has to be balanced too. You can't just balance one side and leave the other. Like, we have to put so much work in now to get those chests. So, now increase the returns. So it gives us the motivation to do so, because right now it feels like, okay, we're getting the same rewards, but we have to rework our whole teams and invest more resources again. And, it's no, there needs to be a balance too, So yeah, those were my thoughts on this whole Hydra balance update. I hope you're not having a hard time getting the 1.2 billion damage. As you can see, I'm gonna probably struggle, but you know, I'll make it work somehow, and I hope you will too and find a way.